So we begin in the shape of standing, the key of standing, connecting through the legs in our human upright space, moving softly across the midline, shifting our weight from leg to leg, dropping in, coiling into the core. We're going to balance on the right leg, and as the left leg takes off, anything goes. Just allow yourself to express any articulation that comes intuitively and by function, by necessity of balancing. Try crossing the midline and give yourself a chance to try to find ways to give yourself staying power in these shapes where the musculature would otherwise fatigue if it was held in one place for too long. So we're going to bring the left leg out in front of us and across the midline and touching the left foot down in front. And we're going to hinge in the hips and come down into the key of folding with the legs crossed. So a crossed fold or a crossed crouch, you know, these definitions of the shapes are soft. It's incredible for the hips, for the side body. So we're standing back up. We're going to load onto the right leg again and balance, rebalance as we pick up the left leg, swing it around behind us, and set it across the midline behind. And this time we'll drop into a crossed squat. So as always, and especially in the squats, we want to make sure that the feet are pointing where the thighs above those feet are pointing. So especially in the loaded leg, the left leg underneath. And those left toes are really active. And so from here, we're going to set the hands down, lift the hips, and then turn out to the left to unwind until the feet are relatively parallel. And we end up in the key of folding, moving side to side immediately, releasing residuals. Now what we want to do here in this particular phrase is as you move back and forth, side to side, we're going to let the legs dance a little bit wider, maybe a leg's length apart, but the legs turn out. And so you end up setting up the legs, turned out maybe 40, 50 degrees each, and then let the hands come up and set the hands on the knees. And as you do so, let the thumbs rest inside the knees and first just check the spine. You want to be in a slight back bend, closer to neutral, the kidneys full, and we're pushing out away from the midline with the arms, the shoulders, the triceps, pushing the knees away from the midline while the knees come in towards the midline, really engaging the inseam very therapeutically as you continue to move. And then we turn a quarter turn to the right and drop into a crouch. So the side-to-side rhythm of what we were just in is now complementary to the front-back rhythm of the crouch, the longitudinal pulse. So we turn a quarter turn to our left and drop over the right leg, down onto the right leg into a side squat. Moving within the side squat is amazing. It may not look huge, but there's so much going on. Then we turn more towards the left leg and we're going to climb out into a lunge. So it's a crouch and then it opens up into a lunge. Just naturally, just letting the feet move further and further apart, the right foot traveling back. Then we're going to set up a little repeated sequence here, taking the left hand inside the left foot. From the lunge, swing the left leg out and back to plank. Take the right leg out and forward outside the right arm into a right foot forward lunge. Take a moment. And then set the right hand down, both hands down, swing the right leg out and back to plank. The left leg swings around and forward outside the left arm into a left side leading lunge. Set the hands, and one more time, swing the left leg out and back to plank. Bring the right leg out and forward to lunge, just outside the right arm. And then we're going to turn a quarter turn to the left to exit into the wide-legged fold. Now we slow way down, bend everything. Let the spine cascade forward and down like water rolling off of a cliff. You won't see much here at this angle, but what I'm really going for is this very small, very powerful side-to-side movement of the pelvis by bending one knee and extending the opposite leg. The long leg is pushing down into the ground. You really want to activate the inseam of the long leg. A quarter turn to your left, you'll exit into another lunge. And then we're going to hop the back foot almost to the front foot, just behind. So the right foot just in back in an asymmetrical squat, left foot in front. And we're going to gather ourselves to stand up and go ahead and rise. And here in the middle, between the two sides of the sequence, as always, take care of yourself. Take a moment and check in. Have we lost connection with the breath? What can we do here in between to just let the momentum of things that have already come to pass fall right through? Let them be done. Let them dissolve. Beautiful. And so setting up the sequence on the other side, we get into that slow side-to-side pulse, shifting our weight from leg to leg. And then we balance on the left leg. And now the right leg takes off. And here we go. I mean, it's dance. It's really dance. It's the ecstatic curiosity of the child exploring her environment. We bring all of that curiosity to this moment. Now take the right leg forward and across the midline, stepping the right foot down. And then we're going to hinge at the hips and come down into a crossed fold, a crossed crouch. When we cross the midline, it really lengthens the side body, especially from the hips down to the feet, and it's extraordinary. You might exhale down the sides of the body, releasing temples to little toes. And then we're going to stand back up, keeping the feet. Try to rebalance on the left leg, picking up the right leg, uncrossing, and then we'll swing the right leg around behind us, across the midline in the back, and then coming down into a crossed squat, left knee on top. And just landing for a moment, just as we cross the midline, perhaps we can release any tension in the upper midline, between the two hemispheres of the brain, between the inner ears on both sides, behind the eyes. So yummy. We're going to lift the hips and then turn out to the right to uncross and come into the fold, moving side to side straight away. So immediately there's footwork, there's expression and articulation of hip, knee, ankle, feet, toes, the whole body really. We're going to go ahead and set the legs up, turning out a little bit, 40, 50, 60 degrees each side. The hands coming off the ground, and we're going to come up. And in this lateral horse, we set the hands on the knees, check the spine, keep the kidneys full, and then pushing the thumbs out away from the midline against the inner knee, while the knees come back in towards the midline, equal to that. So the strength of the shoulder and back pushing out and the legs coming in is so powerful, moving side to side. And then we turn a quarter turn to the left and drop into a crouch. It's just bringing the upper half of the body, the upper hemisphere and the lower hemisphere together in this movement. So extraordinarily meditative. Turn around to the right enough to drop into a side squat over the left leg. Keeping the right knee from locking as you push every point of contact into the ground. Yeah, so good. And we're going to turn more towards the right leg and climb out into a lunge. So it's a crouch that opens to a lunge. So the first few moments you're crouching, there's more movement front to back and back to front. And then we'll let the left leg slide back a little more, hop back a little more into the shape of lunging. Now for the sequence again, we're going to set both hands inside the right leg and swing the right leg out and back to plank. Swing the left leg out and forward to a lunge, outside the left arm. Take a moment in the space. Set the hands. We're going to swing the left leg out and back to plank. The right leg will swing out and forward to lunge. Moving within the moment. And then setting the hands, and the right leg swings out and back to plank. The left leg one more time swings out and forward to a lunge. And then we exit with a quarter turn to the right into a wide-legged fold. Slow and very deliberate. By engaging every fiber of our being, while we move side to side, we inform the experience. We support the joints. The lymphatic system really moves. Notice how we're moving at this angle. You can see it side to side, one leg long, one leg bent. A quarter turn to the right into a lunge. We're going to hop the back foot just behind the front foot. Right foot in the front in an asymmetrical squat in a preparation and transition to standing. And we rise. And so, this is a good 13 minutes of centering and movement. And if you were to repeat the sequence, it's fantastic. It's a lot of work. You could go a third time, or maybe once is enough. So very grateful always for the opportunity to invite you to move, to play, to dance. So much gratitude